Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Something weird is happening to Nvidia because they just released the super cards, which on paper they're quite good cards. You just get better cards for less money or more performance for the same price. So pretty much just positive, but the reviews are surprisingly negative from a lot of channels like Gamers Nexus, Linux Tech Tips, Hardware Unbox. A lot of disappointment, but not just YouTube, like in everywhere, like on Reddit, on Steam forums, on YouTube comments, like wherever I go, there's a lot of negative comments towards Nvidia, and that's kind of surprised me because Nvidia still like dominates the market, yeah, like almost like over 80% of the GPU market is Nvidia, like clearly, like if you want the best, there's a saying, if you want the best, you buy Nvidia. So I'm quite surprised how negative like vibe you get online about Nvidia, and I just wanted to check what's going on. And the video is inspired by Taekwondo. He made two videos recently, one about why do we fall for this, and it's a rant about super series. Like this is second time when Nvidia does super series. Before was with 2000 cards. 2000 series in general was quite disliked by gamers, and Nvidia did super refresh, and 4000 series was mixed bag, like some GPUs was extremely disliked, and yet again they did super. Interestingly, they didn't do super for 3000 cards, which was considered as a very good generation. So yeah, he made that video ranting about that we falling into that we have impression, like Nvidia does impression that super is such a nice upgrade, when in reality it was like minuscule, like 5%, 5% difference. But he made another video, very cool compilation with all the bad reviews, like the main channels that you normally watch: J2Sense, Linus Tech Tips, Hardware Unbox, Gamer Nexus, and Vex. I really like Vex, like he does like him a lot, and I do as well. So actually I will mention him as well in a moment. So guys, let's talk about big elephant in the room, why I think people really dislike Nvidia now. One of the biggest reason probably is kind of disrespect to people who don't have £500 or $500. Guys, people want GPUs like that. This is best selling, yeah? Just few days after all this super refresh, and they're all losing to 3060 or 4060, or this is 4070 non-super, because people are very value focused. They prefer to pay less for the non-super version than paying extra for super. Of course, 4080 just was released, so people keep buying, but that was just released. Interesting, actually, this card is quite good because Asus make very nice GPUs, and normally you pay extra for this model, yeah, for Asus TUF Gaming, and this is MSRP, which is quite unique because let me show you something quickly, because this is the only brand that does Nvidia GPUs with double HDMI slot. So altogether it's got 5 slots for this model. So very, very cool. But look, in general, people like the less expensive models, yeah, less expensive. And Nvidia doesn't like that. So I think this is one of the reasons. Look, they didn't did 4060 super. Why is that? Why is that? Of course we know why is that. Nvidia wants to condition us to forget about anything below $500. But even when you pay way more than for PlayStation 4, you still get less VRAM than consoles. And of course there's arguments, oh, 12 gigabytes is plenty, PlayStation is only 12 gigabytes for games. Yeah, but still, it just doesn't feel right. It's just a GPU, and you still get less VRAM than on consoles. So this is a reason. But guys, it's still changing. Look, in Europe, when people are more value oriented, like in Germany, for example, look, in this one store, yeah, this is one store only, Mine Factory, but this is very big store in Germany, and a lot of countries around Germany buy from this store as well. So in this particular store from that particular week, but this is like repeating, look, for a while AMD is selling more GPUs than Nvidia. Very interesting. So this is this store here, and you have just, you have some Nvidia, but like look how much AMD is here. This is AMD as well, but especially this brand here, because it's very good value. When you check Steam, you see that still Nvidia dominates. Only like 15-16% of GPUs is from AMD. But this doesn't tell the full story, because that includes laptops and includes pre-built. When pre-built and laptops is pretty much 100% of Nvidia. 100%. There's no AMD like graphics laptops, not many, very few pre-builds with AMD GPU. So this is mostly do-it-yourself market. Now, do-it-yourself market is a little bit different, because these are big part of the enthusiasts who are really into gaming or really into PC hardware, so much so that they watch like 500 subscribers YouTube channels. So these are people that you normally ask for advice on what GPU I should get. These people may influence the future generation of gamers. So I think this is also important, and Nvidia maybe should worry a little bit about this segment, this market. And I'm glad that AMD actually focuses on the market. Of course, they need laptop markets. It's a huge market, very important, and pre-builds as well, yeah, like normies. But they starting in the right place, the do-it-yourself market, people that may influence other people. You know, you ask for advice, people who know stuff. So this is this. And also reminded, look, what people are actually buying and using. Yeah, this is like lower end and past generation. Look, the earliest, this generation, look, we go down here, laptop one. This is integrated graphics. So people using integrated graphics, look how popular it is. Yeah, and 4070 here. So that's what people want, but that's what not Nvidia wants. And AMD actually dropped the price. And funny enough, they didn't really need to, because the prices went back up and people still buying AMD. And I've seen interesting comment I would never expect, because normally in the past, people would consider AMD as a pressure on Nvidia, so to Nvidia lower the prices or their cards. That's what a lot of people was the only reason for AMD to exist, to put pressure on Nvidia so they can get cheaper Nvidia GPUs. But I've seen a comment actually saying that they are happy with the super cards, because hopefully they will put pressure on AMD and he can buy like XTX at a lower price or XT at a lower price. So very interesting, you know, like the vibe is changing. I don't know, is it just me or it's happening? I know in some people's opinion, oh, it's just shields, AMD shields everywhere. Yeah. But guys, do you feel that? Do you have that same impression? And look, this is AMD. You know, it's supposed to drop in price. It dropped and it's like kind of going back. You know, this is not all-time low. It's all-time low was in the past. Somewhere here like 900. Yeah, again, interesting. While 4080 Super, just after launch, I don't know, it's like 2 days after, it's already above MSRP. You cannot get MSRP. Look how expensive it is. What kind of brain damage you need to have to pay like what, $2,000 for 4080 super, non super, the same thing, just better look for this version, when you can get even now overpriced 4090. This is ridiculous. This was paper launch, the dirty trick, just dirty trick, probably to put pressure on AIBs to sell their 4080 non-super below the cost, below MSRP. You know, make them lose money, because I don't believe they would give a discount or like rebate or refund for AIBs who are stuck with regular 4080 that they cannot sell anymore. They're gonna, you know, rot on our shelf, collecting dust. So yeah, this is another reason I think people are like, there's a lot of reason, but this is yet another, like paper launches, pushing AIBs out of business, you know, EVGA, for example. So yeah, look, Nvidia maybe should start to worry, because the gaming market is not that big anymore. And this gaming here, yeah, this green, well, both green, but this green version, yeah, is a gaming one, but that includes like 4090 that was sent to China, and it's used for AI. That's supposed to be in data center. It's not real gaming. And it also includes Nintendo Switch that using Nvidia chip. Yeah, and maybe some other gaming that I'm not aware. But yeah, it's not everything. It's not just do-it-yourself card. But it's kind of smaller than here. Look, was better in the past. All this is bigger. And then 2023, and it's lower. So I don't know. So yeah, the feeling is quite strong, don't you think, guys? But again, I was thinking, okay, maybe it's imagination, confirmation bias, because I have a little bit like bad feeling towards Nvidia as well. I see that they're making the best products probably. If you want the best, you buy 4090, and there's no competition from AMD. But like for normal people that don't want to spend £2,000, maybe that's not the case. And look, guys, a lot of channels did surveys asking people question what they prefer, AMD, Nvidia, and from the channels I've got, like pretty much 100% gives me an impression that people really start to dislike Nvidia. Like for example, Ivadim, another good channel, like and subscribe to this guy. Ivadim, he asked people what would they prefer, you know, 4070 Super or 7800 XT. Now, if I would have to recommend to anybody, if I would be like a benchmarker, like Daniel Oven, yeah, if I would be Daniel Oven doing his job, putting like so many hours benchmarking stuff and would compare this stuff, my brain would say this is a better buy. Even if it's $100 more expensive, this is a better buy, and I would recommend this to other people. But at the same time, my heart would choose this card, which is again weird because I'm falling into that. I'm like, you know, if I have that feeling, that probably a lot of people have the same feeling. And look here, people would choose this one. Funny enough, a lot of people were saying that this is stupid card, very bad card, badly priced, it shouldn't exist. It's the same as what Nvidia did with 4060 Ti 16 gigabytes. But it doesn't look like it's the case. And this is by any means, that's not AMD channel. This is not like AMD Shields. Like he's saying that this card is pretty much better. Like his reviews are towards more like towards Nvidia. So why is that? Why is so many people like choosing AMD now? So YouTubers, a lot of YouTubers, but audience that cannot be just the Shields. Yeah, but this is very small channel, maybe. Not enough votes to be representative. Okay, maybe that's the case. Of course, that's very likely. This is a little bit bigger channel. Moore's Law is dead, and he was very like precise with many predictions that a lot of people were disagreeing hard. That was almost angry at this guy what he was saying, because before the launch he was saying that this won't be a really that great of a launch, and AMD shouldn't be worried that much, and maybe they don't even lower the prices that much. And he was right. A lot of people were thinking that he's wrong. And he also made a survey, and yeah, he was pretty much right. Which again, I'm kind of surprised. I thought people are more into DLSS and ray tracing. And I was wrong. Because people don't really care that much about racing, and they don't care about DLSS. I'm surprised and kind of happy that people do care about VRAM and do care about raw performance. Just normal performance in VRAM. So yeah, I'm glad to see that. And by the way, big shout out to him, because in summertime he said that XTX, when it was at $900, will probably go up in price. That it was in the summertime. So if you want to buy XTX, and I was actually consider that you should buy now. Of course, at the end it was my decision. You know, he doesn't tell people what to do, but he gave me the information I used for myself, and I made a decision. Okay, that's the right time to buy XT8, and it was the perfect time, because as soon as I bought the card, it went up in price and stay at the higher price. So I'm really happy thanks to this guy. But okay, let's continue. So Tech Power Up. Look, this is a comparison: 4070 Ti Super comparing to 7900 XTX, and it's still faster. Yeah, it's raw performance, but that's what people care, and still more VRAM as well. So here you go. And with ray tracing, of course, with ray tracing Nvidia dominates, but it's not that massive of a difference. A part of path tracing, AMD keep up. Look, this is not 90% of the performance. Yes, XTX is more expensive, but not always more expensive. You know, there's a lot of models that are quite expensive and getting really close to XTX. And sometimes you get free game with AMD, like recently with Avatar. So these cards can actually be quite close in price. And yeah, just kind of keep up. Yeah, it's a bit behind, but it's not disaster. It can do ray tracing. Now, Vex asked another question about 7600 XT. And look, people have very good opinion about this card, because I believe this is at the price bracket that is respectful to people, not above $500 or above $1,000. People want gaming GPU that doesn't cost more than console, let alone 2 consoles. So yeah, here you go. And by the way, this channel, if he was like a stock, I would invest. I would invest in this guy because this channel is phenomenal. The way he like give context, and actually the review of the newest 4080 Super, masterpiece for me. The way he delivers his opinion, the benchmarks, everybody can put benchmarks. If you put a lot of time, you can make a benchmark. And a lot of channel fakes the benchmarks, just steal the data or just made up data and just do the fake benchmarks. You can do that. But I think what people are craving is just a real life like opinion from a people, real gamers. And yeah, I really like this channel. Shout out to him. Taekwondo actually did as well. Congratulate him on getting the review samples. He got the very first Nvidia review sample, and the review was pretty bad. I mean, he said the card is phenomenal, it's super strong, but he wouldn't buy it. So yeah, respect to this guy. Very, very good. Another channel here asking about ray tracing, and look, pretty much people don't care about ray tracing that much. Like 3% really care, like it's critical, like it's very important. Some people like, hey, I would trade a little bit. Like, yeah, I paid a little bit extra to have ray tracing performance with XTX from AMD, but it's not critical for me. I turn it on and many times I turn it off. So it's not that important for a lot of people. So I think that's another reason. Hardware unboxed, so quite a lot of people voted here. Look, some people in some games turn it off, in some games turn it off. And, so it's not important. It's not really important. But this is interesting because this is directly answering the question I'm asking now. Nvidia has weakened the GeForce brand with the 40 generation, 66%. So, and at the same time, AMD maybe not improve the brand, but kind of at least stay the same, 50% of people, but more people think they improved rather than weakened. So like kind of reversed, more almost. So yeah, it's like a lot of confirmation wherever I look, the confirmation, like people start thinking better about Nvidia. Another one, this channel is by any means like AMD channel. And again, people choosing XTX over Nvidia, yeah, between this one. Yeah, they want him to buy this card. Or choosing, look, between this and this, they choosing AMD. This is not AMD channel. Very interesting as well. Another small channel, but still. He's asking, actually, this is very nicely worded question. I really like how he worded this question. He didn't ask, is 8 gigabytes of VRAM enough? But should modern titles and like developers should be limited to consuming 8 gigabytes of VRAM at 1080p? 50% of people said no. That surprised me. No, it means that I think people want to have an option for more VRAM. And now this is like kind of chicken egg situation, if 8 gigabytes of VRAM is enough or not. Is it enough because they shouldn't be using more, like developers shouldn't using more, or because Nvidia give them no choice? Because if developers wants to use more than 8 gigabytes of VRAM, it will be destroyed in reviews for bad optimization, because there's so little cards, GPUs on the market with more than 8 gigabytes of VRAM. So I think in some way, some people think, actually that's my belief, that Nvidia kind of harms PC market by stinging on VRAM. That's my personal opinion, and I think a lot of people think as well that Nvidia shouldn't charge more for the GPU than for consoles with less VRAM. That's crazy. So yeah, that's another reason as well. Another reason, Nvidia playing dirty a lot, like squeezing EVGA out of the market. Like, of course, maybe EVGA is kind of responsible for this as well, obviously, because they quit the market. But look, that's Nvidia squeezing as much profit as possible. Of course, that's their goal. That's a private company, well, publicly traded company, so not strictly private, but publicly traded company. Look, like how much they get like squeezing profits, and they squeezing AIBs like pretty much out of the market. Look, 5% is nothing. You cannot exist. This is more like, in many cases, just for the brand recognition, like Asus, using the GPUs for the brand so you can sell more motherboards. But smaller brands, I don't know how they can make money. Maybe on the higher end models like 4090, especially for $2,000, but lower end, I don't know. This is like ridiculous. So people don't like that, and they really don't like what they did to EVGA for sure. So yeah, Nvidia playing dirty. And look, with the super cards, like I said before, making paper lunch pretty much for 4080 Super and forcing AIB partners to sell the old cards below the cost. That's crazy, no? That's quite dirty. Of course, good maybe for us, but I don't know. People don't like that as well. And look, this is quite big, but it's happening for so long, we just got used to. Like a lot of drivers, Nvidia drivers, make the older GPU slower. What can be more dirty than that? Can you think of any idea what can be more dirty to make your old GPUs run slower? No, it's not planned obsolescence. It's just deliberate obsolescence. It's just making sure it's like obsolete, your old GPU, so you have to buy the new GPU. And it's happening like since always. My first Nvidia GPU was GeForce 2 Titanium with the older name. Before TI, they were called Titanium. And even then, you install the new drivers and you felt the slowdown. Like you felt, like it's like normal. It's like normal for people got used to, especially when you have older cars. That new drivers coming out, you don't touch. You just make sure first you check on if it doesn't harm performance. So people very often are stuck with old drivers just to not risk loss in performance. With AMD, is the opposite. People are waiting for new drivers because it's gonna add performance. And I know there's a lot of opinion that AMD drivers are horrible, but a lot of people like confirming now they have no problem. Of course, this is my personal opinion. I have zero problem with AMD drivers. I'm very happy with AMD drivers. I like installing new drivers because it usually give more features, more performance. And also the thing like, with FSR 3 or AMF, just this frame generation through drivers, they give it to old GPUs. With Nvidia playing again dirty, like locking the new features just with the new GPUs. They don't want to give it to the old GPUs. So like pushing people into new cars. People don't like as well. They don't like feeling that they have bad GPU just 2 years later. That is outdated. So that's another reason. And let's bring me my bullet points, a reminder. So what I think why people get in the negative towards Nvidia is the grit and dirty tactics, for sure. EVGA, what they did to them. Drivers. This is one of the dirtiest, as I said. I'm surprised more people don't talk about this. Making old GPU slower. It's like when you realize what Nvidia is doing, it's like, man, you cannot make it much worse than that. So another one. The kind of related. CPU overhead. Nvidia drivers are CPU heavy, which is not a problem for benchmarkers when they run the fastest CPU on the market. But when you upgrade, like for example, you have Ryzen 2 3600, quite old. When you upgrade, you are more likely to be CPU bottlenecked if you go with Nvidia. For upgrades, I think AMD is pretty much always better, especially when you're risking CPU bottleneck. 100%. So another reason, VRAM, as I said before, I think Nvidia harming PC market by stinging on VRAM. Yes, VRAM will be enough. 12 gigabytes of VRAM probably will be enough for a while for 1440p, but not because developers don't need more, because they have no choice. And that probably makes optimizing more expensive and more difficult, because from what I've heard, optimizing for VRAM is very time consuming, which means very expensive, and maybe at the end it's not gonna happen. The game will feel unoptimized. So yeah, and more VRAM would solve the problem. New tech only on new GPU for no reason, like FSR 3 for everybody, even for Nvidia. So People like that. People like that. People like adrenaline software, how it looks, all the features. It's just nice to use it. When Nvidia refused to upgrade their software, you have two software, you have to log in. Like, yeah, people don't like it. Adrenaline is so much better. Where the hell, guys, is 4060 Super? Of course, Nvidia doesn't want to do that. 4060 selling better than other cards at the moment. Yeah, it's selling good, even though it's very bad value. It's like it is very bad value, and Nvidia is still refusing to do the Super because they also don't care about anything below $500. They condition us into believing that $500, ideally $600, is the bare minimum. Maybe the next generation it's 700 or 800 for 5070. Yeah, it's getting surreal with the prices. People don't like that. When AMD releasing a $300 cards, and with CPUs the same. You have Ryzen 5700 X3D, the new Ryzen, for old AM4 board. Amazing. So people like that on AMD side, and that's surprising to me. But people don't care pretty much at all, almost at all, about ray tracing. And guys, this probably would be super painful, and I can only imagine because it haven't happened to me. I have got AMD and I'm happy with ray tracing on my AMD. I cannot do ray tracing, but I can do ray tracing pretty much okay. But imagine buying Nvidia for ray tracing. One of the main reasons going Nvidia for ray tracing, you try ray tracing, you realize how much of a gimmick it is, how big hit to performance it is, and you switch it off. Imagine switch it off ray tracing on Nvidia GPU. You bought it for that mainly. That's why you pay extra for Nvidia instead of having more FPS with AMD, and you switch it ray tracing off. Hilarious kind of and sad at the same time. So yeah, guys, let me know what you think. What's going on? Why is so much negativity towards Nvidia recently? Because on paper, there's no reason. People should be happy with these supercars. They're quite good. They perform well. They're just improvement. Why you shouldn't be happy with the glass half full? You just focus on the positive aspect. And yet, people are very negative, kind of almost upset at the Super. A lot of people are saying that Super is what the 4000 series supposed to be from the beginning, and I kind of disagreed at the beginning, but then I stopped myself. Just don't disagree for no reason, just listen what people have to say. That's what people believes. They not happy with Nvidia, they not happy with the 40,000 launch, 4,000 launch, and yeah, they're not happy with the Super as well. They think that Nvidia just played dirty, I guess. Yeah. So yeah, guys, let me know in the comments. I read all the comments. I really enjoy doing that. Yeah, let's have a discussion because I think it's interesting. I'm surprised with the results. I'm surprised what people saying on forums, on Reddit. And yeah, thank you for watching and see you in the next one.